Oh, hi there. You know, earlier this week somebody put up an entry on Facebook taking exception with our national grief over the September 11th tragedy and the way it has over time been transformed, in this person's opinion, into a sort of a new iconic status on which hangs a new brand of kind of a martyr-based patriotism. And then from there, he went on into this rant about everything that he finds wrong with the country and finished with a couple of lines about how much he hates the United States. Well, first of all, I deleted this person immediately. Alright, that was about it for him. But then it occurred to me that there's actually a much larger point to be made here. You see, when I was coming up, we loved our country and we were proud of it, and that was about it, really. Nothing more to add to that. But it seems that recently it's a little bit different, and even with people who call themselves patriots can't say that without in the same breath saying something like, I love my country, but... And then that but might be followed by anything from, but we practiced slavery for a long time. I really love my country, but let's face it, we pillaged and plundered the American Indian as we expanded west. I'll never stop loving my country, but let's face it, our major cities were built on the backs of disadvantaged workers for the most part. And on it goes. Alright, I love my country, but why do we always have to invoke God's name in everything we do? What's that all about? So, with this being the week where we set aside time to remember the terrorist attack and what that meant for us then and still means today, and the people who lost their lives and the sacrifices of our soldiers since then, I thought this would be a good opportunity to, as a service for all of you, what I like to call guilty patriots out there. And you know you're out there. You really do love this country and you want to be patriotic for it, and yet at the same time you do feel a little guilt because of all these things. So as a service to you, I want to answer some of those buts. And maybe even rebut some of those buts. So I hope you enjoy this. I know I'm going to. Here we go. On slavery. Yeah, we practiced it for quite a while, just like every other major superpower on earth at the time. But of all the countries who practiced it, nobody overturned their practice of it sooner than the United States. Except, of course, Great Britain. They abolished it in 1836. They were the leading superpower at the time, but we followed suit very shortly thereafterwards. Okay, on pillage and plunder. First of all, we rightly bought and paid for every square inch of land in the continental United States that we own. Alright, half the land west of the Mississippi was secured in a purchase made by Thomas Jefferson from Napoleon Bonaparte of France, and then the rest of it, we cut deals with various independent Indian nations along the way as we went further and further out. Whatever pillage and plunder may have taken place was only done in an effort to secure in practice what now rightly belonged to us in the first place. What was the third? Yeah, disadvantaged workers. Okay, right now, unemployment in America is sitting at a little over 8% or so, but that's actually not the real number. You see, if you count the number of people who have been out of work for so long that they're discouraged, no longer even considered as part of the workforce, if you put those people back in, that number is closer to 1 in 4 Americans who would love to trade places with any of those disadvantaged workers back then. And do you know why? Because even a disadvantaged worker is still a worker who's pulling a paycheck. Don't like our Judeo-Christian stance? Tough. But really, where else on earth are you going to go? I mean, seriously, where else on earth are you going to go? You do realize, of course, that every major country on earth derives its national point of view from some sort of religious orientation. You know that, right? Well, here's something that may not have occurred to you. Once you go outside of Christianity, the ones who take some other religious point of view, across the board, they tend to take a far more strident, strict, fundamental, and far more extreme interpretation to their faith than we could ever even dream of taking to ours. If you're seriously worried about theocracy in America, then quite frankly, you don't even know what that word means. But it is our religious ethic in this country that has fostered a continual upward surge all along. The overturn of slavery, yeah, for that you can thank all of those Christian abolitionists whose heartfelt dedication to their faith rightly led them to see that this institution went directly against the very God that they, and for that matter I, love and try to serve as best we can each and every day. I love my country, but, yeah, no thanks. You can take that down the road and peddle it someplace else. And yeah, I fully recognize our shortcomings, past and present, and we can talk about those anytime. But my deep and abiding love for this country is so much greater than any of those things. If you call yourself a patriot, I hope you feel the same way. I'll see you next time.